Story, dear watcher. You know, the president of the 10th Senate, Godswill Akpabio, paid an official visit to the special advisor to the president on Senate matters, Senator Basheer Lado. Now, the third citizen was impressed, whereupon he described the visit as a significant step in cementing executive-legislative relations. I'm reminded in this connection of the statement, "You never get a second chance to make a first impression." Methinks it goes beyond a first top impression. But let's share that moment with you. Come with us.
Here is the office of the special advisor to the president of Senate matters. It was like the classroom teacher's office before. Man of color, man of excellence, a man of style has stepped into the office, and the office has changed. So I must say that this office is uncommonly transformed. I do remember the fact that today you met what I may call a milestone decision to compile the recently signed bills into acts of parliament for the record of the Senate. This never used to happen. Because whenever we finish passing bills, after they are transmitted to the executive, many senators will not know which bills were signed and which ones were not signed. But since your assumption of duties, you have kept track of all the bills passed by the National Assembly. You have kept track of all the bills assented to by Mr. President, and you have also communicated same to us. Information communication is important. And let me put on record that since your assumption of office, we have not had a single leakage of private communication between the presidency and the Senate. We have not had a single incidence of leakage, because in government there's what we call the right to know. The right to know. And then, of course, where government business is done on pages of newspapers and on social media, it simply means that that is against national security. So I want to thank you for upholding the tenets of what government should be.
Dr. Nso, as I was saying, you know, it goes beyond making a top impression on the Senate president. Yeah, I'm happy that the relationship between the executive and the legislative arm is becoming cozier, but let it become a plus for the everyday Nigerian, if you understand me.
Yes, you know, erroneously, we believe in this part of the world that for governance to work, the three arms of government must not work together. That instead of the checks and balances that we're supposed to have, what people expect will be blows and slamming as used in wrestling. But that's not the way it should work.
Yeah.
The business of governance is about your capacity as the executive to tell the legislature you are wrong. It is also for the legislature to look at the executive and say, no, yes, we are from the same party, but for the good of Nigerians, this is the path to do.
Yeah.
And the same among the three arms.
And the judiciary
should be able to
interpret
whatever the legislature or without fear or favor.
Yeah.
And do it well. Some people don't know that offices like this exist.
Yeah, not many people remember.
They don't. Because it's the same way that you have in the House of Reps. There's a special advisor to the president on House of Representatives matters. This, when we are reporting, what we say is President Obasanjo writes Senate President. We usually overlook this office that passes that communication. Because this is the man who brings it.
Okay.
Yes.
No communication will leave the villa and they take it directly to the Senate or the House of Reps. It will go through the special advisor. And that office will be the intermediary. It takes what goes from the president to the Senate, and
it's a two-way street.
It's a two-way. So what it essentially means is, even when they have differing positions on issues. It's left to the SA to resolve, because that's his job. But some people honestly believe that once there is a communication and there is this, somebody is there to, I mean, we churn the other person or slam the other person and then it is resolved. No, it's the job of the SA to play that politics. This is what the president is saying, and then he takes it back and says to the president, this is what the Senate is saying. That's the middleman.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, we don't remember people who occupy these offices.
Yes.
If you go back and ask somebody now, who were the former occupants of this office? As, I'll give you 10,000, tell me. A lot of Nigerians will be able
If
to
you will
mention.
give me $1,000, I'll tell you one.
So we need to recognize some of these offices that are not, to say it's shouting in terms of name.
All right, yeah.
Because they are doing a great deal of job. And for
Okay.
Akpabio to say there has been no leakage of communication is a big one. Because in all of these communications, this back and forth, security issues are involved.
Yeah.
Trust will be there, and all of the rest. So he must be doing a good job, that Senator Lado.
Yeah.
For him to have, and we should always recognize people like this who are working silently to make the country work.
Yeah, because so there are silent workers who, as I said, are not in the public domain, but they are busy doing their job.
Yes.
At the behind the scene.
Yeah.
You know, so Senator Basheer Lado comes to mind as one of them.
Yes, Senator Basheer Lado is a good hire. A good hire by the president. I've known him for so long. I know what he's capable of doing. I know that in terms of interpersonal relationship, he's an excellent person. So I'm not surprised that he's done his job in a manner that pleases not just the president, but the Senate president. It's quite unusual for the number 3 man in our country to pay a visit to a special advisor to the president.
Yeah.
But Akpabio recognizes how much value Senator Basheer Lado brings to the job. Akpabio recognizes the fact that Senator Lado has made his job easier.
As the number 3 man.
As the mediator.
Yeah.
As the go-between, the interface
I see what you mean.
between him and the president.
Yeah.
You know, so the Senate president values that, the diligence and the excellence
and effectiveness
that he has brought into the job, and that's why, despite the fact that he's the number 3 man, I didn't see anything wrong in paying him a visit. Went to his office to say, look, gentlemen, we are happy with your work. We are happy because the relationship between the legislature and the executive is a much better one. And a lot of things that you are doing now, in the past, we never experienced it. You've made the job a lot easier. You've made your competence, you brought your competence to bear on the job that you've been assigned. So for Senator Lado, he must be feeling really proud that his hard work, the silent work that he's doing, is now being brought to the fore. Like Dotun said, these are not people that you read about in the newspapers all the time. But he does the job diligently and silently. And he too was he used some very good language in describing the Senate president. He said, the Senate president has championed the Renew Hope agenda with conviction, defending it with clarity, articulating it with passion, and advancing it through legislative action. You know? So the president must be really happy with the job that Senator Lado is doing, because when there is conflict between the executive and the legislature, you know who to blame. And the president will always pick somebody who had been there before, a former senator or a former House of Reps member, so that interface with his former colleagues
remains,
will be excellent. And this is what we are seeing. And I say, I can only wish Senator Basheer Lado Godspeed as he continues his job.
Okay. Dr. As you said, my mind quickly goes to the man who occupied the position in the days of President Muhammadu Buhari, Senator Itainan. I'm not saying this because you are rewarding me, but so there are silent workers.
Tagiwa too.
Tagiwa
did it for
Obasanjo. Yeah.
These are people who had a clear understanding of what that role meant.
Yeah.
Because once there is that conflict, you can hardly achieve anything. And that's why we keep, sometimes you hear of a huge fight, the presidency and this. No, we don't need all of that. Whether they are from the same party or not, what we need is for Nigeria to work. And these are the kind of people that we need. Not people who bring conflicts or don't know how to resolve conflicts.
Conflict of interest and all that. Yeah. Okay then, let's move to our next